All right. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, everybody. It's 6 a.m., the 22nd of October, 2025. And I am Dr. Nelson Vasquez from Central Florida with Alia, who's coming from way south.
The deep south. Deep, deep.
And we have Michelle Johnson with us from California. So it's 3 a.m. over there. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
And if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. Hashtag KMT for what,
Uh,
Alia?
baseball cap. A baseball cap.
All
That's my
righty.
tribe. And
And
there's a lot of political issues right now uh, between the country I'm from and the country I'm living in.
Oh.
yeah, I heard
Sorry.
about that yesterday.
So
We
I'm not
we
saying
won't
where
get
I
into
am
that.
anymore. I'm not
We,
saying where I am anymore.
Oh man.
so, anyways, do you have any announcements, Alia, before we
I want to find out if
start?
everybody that's actually here is a member of the Mighty Tribe. If not, join. You can join for free. We've got a lot of cool stuff happening in the Mighty Tribe. Yeah, like you're doing these great coaching calls, additional calls, and expert calls during the week. And so, yeah, join. It's for free. And you have, today we have our first actual lesson on the Kilts Health Coaching Certification course at 3 p.m. Eastern with Dr. Nelson. So if you're on the course, make
And
sure you're there. And
tomorrow, 6 a.m., we'll be here again at 3 p.m. Who's the guest I have at 3 p.m.? Uh,
I can't think past like the next live stream.
okay. Well, the the
Deanna Raw.
5:30 the 5
Deanna Raw. Deanna Raw tomorrow.
yes, Diana, of course. I just saw her picture. But at 5:30 we also have Dave
Dave Feldman.
Feldman.
Yeah.
So if
Oh
you
wow.
like
And the Kilts My
to
Tribe.
listen to that Zoom call on Thursdays, uh and I see it, we already have some questions here. Good morning, everyone. I'm not going to go through all the names, but thank you for being here.
Yeah.
And those who are taking the course today, we have our first lesson at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. All righty. So, Michelle, how are you doing today?
Just, tired. My son was up from he's almost 2 and he was up at midnight just wanting me to hold him and I've been cutting that out. So he was up from like 12 to 12:45 and then I got up at like 2:40. So I'm a little tired. Excuse me if I'm a little tired.
You're
So he's
okay.
two. He's two. When did he turn two? What month?
He's turning to November 30th, so not quite 2 yet.
Oh, okay. My grandson just turned two in September.
Oh wow, okay. It's a rough age.
For
It
the
is.
parents.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for the kids, love it. It's a good age for them. How many
Yeah.
kids do you have, Michelle?
I have 2. So I have Jake, who's the almost 2-year-old, and then I have Chloe, who just turned 4 in July.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Uh, all right. So, Michelle, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, what you do, and your low carb carnivore story.
Yeah. So my name is Michelle, and I've been on this journey for many years. I would say I started doing keto about 6 years ago. And then, it's been a roller coaster on and off, but I have celiac disease. I was diagnosed in the last quarter of culinary school, actually. And so, yeah, I became like very sick and I was like 115 or 110 pounds. And I was like so sick in school, running to the bathroom every day, like throughout class. And I finally found out that I had celiac because my mother-in-law, she had like a gluten allergy, or she wasn't sure if she had celiac or gluten allergy. And she's like, you should go get tested. And my mom was like, there's no way you have that. And I went and my level was like super high. And anyways, from there, I still created an in-home bakery and I did like custom cake props and things for the studio for years. always eating a high carb diet, even though it was gluten free. I was eating very processed, like sugar, and I ended up getting diagnosed with lupus and getting pretty ill, not being able to work, just kind of in a bad place. And they put me on medication that was making the side effects of the medication were worse than the lupus symptoms itself. And I just
Wow.
got sick of it, and I read about the keto diet. And at the time I was probably under like maybe 50 carbs a day. So it wasn't, maybe some days lower than others, but wasn't that low carb, but just going that under 50 was like life changing. I was able to reverse the levels of my like dsDNA markers. And my doctor was like, "What did you do? Like without you stopped taking the medication?" Because I just stopped taking it. And I told her, I'm like, "I did the keto diet, and why aren't you telling other people to do this?" And she's like, "Everyone won't even go gluten free. Like, no one will even try." And I was like, "Well, you could tell people at least like what happened with me." And, they just want to keep prescribing medication. So, on and off, then I was caring for my sister who sadly passed away. She was special needs. And so I had to stop working a while to just care for her full time with my mom. And so that was like a roller coaster. And in between, I had my daughter. And with her pregnancy, I ate a bunch of carbs. I gained like 75 pounds. I was way overweight. And then I was diagnosed with hypothyroid after that too. So it was like a whole roller coaster. And then I went straight back into like even stricter carnivore pretty much. And that was in 2022 when I discovered carnivore. And from there I've known like that's how my body runs the best. And of course, there's been off times where I've been higher carb, and every time I try and do that, I just kept getting sick because a lot of foods were contaminated with gluten. A lot of certified gluten-free processed foods, I was getting sick, and my celiac markers were never going negative, which they should if you're gluten-free. And I was eating so gluten-free, like so strict, certified, but like gluten-free bread, gluten-free crackers, gluten-free everything. And I couldn't figure it out. And then when I finally went carnivore was the first time my level went negative. And I was like finally feeling like a normal human. I didn't understand that that's how I should be feeling, so yeah, I've had 2 kids. My second pregnancy, I was very low carb, not carnivore, and I gained like only 20 pounds, lost it within a month. I got pregnant with my daughter. It took me 6 months to get pregnant. And with my son, I did carnivore and I got pregnant the first try. And in between that, I had miscarried a baby. But with that baby, I got pregnant on accident because I was from carnivore. I had no issue getting pregnant once I started doing carnivore. And so
Wow.
So now I have a granola business. I don't sell sugar-filled cakes anymore, and I have a keto paleo organic granola business. And so I do that from my house. I have a licensed certified organic bakery, and the goal is to get the healthier products in the store one day is my goal, to build enough clientele to do that. And right now I ship online, and I'm also stay-at-home mom with my 2 kids.
That's probably the hardest job, but
Yeah.
the most rewarding. You mentioned your titers. You mentioned the gluten test, and you mentioned lupus. So, do you remember what the numbers were the last time on your antibody titers, the anti-DNA and the ANA?
For the lupus markers,
Yes.
they were like, when it was really bad, they were like in the 300s, I believe, pretty
Okay.
high. And like I said, the doctor, when they went, like, if you looked at me on paper, it would look like I don't have lupus anymore.
Amazing.
But technically, obviously, like, because I tried getting life insurance and they're like, you have lupus, even though it was whatever in the last 3 years, but I guess after it's been 3 years, I can claim I don't have lupus anymore, like legally.
So they're
Wow.
0. Are they completely negative now?
The last time I went, I believe they were negative. Yeah.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
So what will you say? So the doctor related to you that, or acknowledged at least that, yes, probably agree with you that your diet made the difference, but you mentioned that he doesn't tell people. And if there's anyone patients might believe a little bit, will be the doctor inside their consult office, right? But sometimes when we're not completely convinced of something, then we don't tell the patients about it. But you have discovered by going up and down with the carbohydrates that when you stick very low or no carbs, that's when you do the best.
Yeah, because I've tried, like, especially after I had my son, I was low carb that whole pregnancy, and then I was like, I need to go back, carnivore, and I tried doing animal based because I was breastfeeding. I was like, oh, I should have, the fruit, and between the fruit and upping he ended up having a dairy allergy, and so
Wow.
I already had, like, obviously on carnivore I'm always gluten free, but from this my celiac I have to be strict gluten free, and he had a milk and soy protein allergy. So I was kind of like eating a lot. He started being so sick. I'm like, what is going on? Because I was eating so much. I was eating dairy. So then that's when I created my bar, because there was literally no snacks. Like, there was no low carb snacks that were soy free and dairy free and keto. But yeah, it's been a roller coaster. But every time I up my carbs, my inflammation from the lupus, like my hands and my joints are just like aching. Like it's almost instantly. And I have a gluten-free Instagram, and so I try and post healthy gluten-free animal-based recipes, for people that are gluten-free, but I want to show them you can do it at least a little bit better, a little less sugar, or sweetened naturally, whatever. For the people that are never going to do carnivore, because not everyone is open to carnivore or keto. And so when I do that, like a couple weeks ago, I made cookies, like a crumble cookie or whatever, a gluten-free and naturally sweetened. I tried one bite, and I had been strict carnivore this whole month. This is the only time I cheated. One bite, not a whole cookie, and I was like instant headache, instant wrist aching, that like instantly within like 20 or 30 minutes. And it's like so crazy how powerful the sugar is.
So what will you say to someone else who comes near your message wherever you're having it? What will you say for someone who has either lupus or rheumatoid arthritis or any other autoimmune issue? What's your first advice to them?
I think my first advice would to be give keto a chance, and if they're open to carnivore one day, that would be great. But at least trying to put your carbs under 50. If you're eating a standard American diet, I think at least switching to under 50 carbs, you would benefit greatly. Like my parents, they have autoimmune issues. My mom has rheumatoid, and I've gotten her a little bit on the lower carb side and trying to get her not to have sugar. And I try with my dad too. He loves like chips and jerky, and not the good jerky, the one that has bad sweeteners and stuff in it. And so with them, I'm like, you do so much better if you just try it. And the craving, the problem is it's that first like 2 weeks is just the hardest to get through, I think, for everybody that I recommend it to. But I just try and stress, like, eat extra bacon, eat the things you love, because most people love bacon or love beef. Like, I know my parents both, they love beef, so it's like eat the things you love that will get you through it. I think that anytime I've gone back to carnivore too, it's like, okay, I make sure that I have all the things that I love, and that's the easy way to get through it. Because with carnivore, there's so many delicious foods. It's not like vegan. I could never go vegan because there's so many foods. I've never been a big vegetable girl either.
So through your own experience, I mean, this has been your own discovery, basically. Everything you said, it is what it is. Most people find out this is very anti-inflammatory. You can call it an elimination diet, whatever it is. Most people do better with autoimmune conditions, any brain, mental health. The ultimate metabolic dysfunction being diabetes gets reversed. By the way, there's a doctor in the United Kingdom that, he does studies on his own patients, and most patients reverse diabetes at least if they go at least under 50 grams of carbs a day, they are on their way. Now, you want to do it quicker, you go lower, right? So the prescription strength makes a difference depending on how sick you are. But we have seen people with multiple, not only lupus, which can be devastating. The inflammation can cause a lot of problems, but rheumatoid arthritis, psoriatic arthritis, Hashimoto's, multiple sclerosis, multiple brain nervous system diseases, and they get better when you lower your carbohydrates enough. And many people have to do carnivore, maybe not even by choice, but because they have realized is when they feel the best. But it seems to sometimes be a message that's hard to get through to some people.
I think also with the doctors, why they're not recommending it is the cholesterol issue. And that's why I'm a big fan of Dave Feldman, because he's unlocking the truth about cholesterol. That's my doctors have been like, you're literally going to have a heart attack, because I'm a lean mass hyperresponder. So my cholesterol is extremely high and my triglycerides are extremely low, being the better ratio, as they would like, whatever the ratio of when you're not at risk if your triglycerides are really high. And I actually had a whole scan of my heart to prove that I have no calcification, and because they wouldn't leave me alone. They're like, you can't keep eating like this. And I was like,
because you're gonna die.
Yeah, I'm like, do the scan so that, if I'm wrong, I'll try and change my diet up a bit, to still maybe do keto, but less whatever. But then I've seen so many with Dave Feldman, so many people, the lean mass hyper responders. Not everyone is like me. They have normal cholesterol on carnivore, but when I first went carnivore, especially, like, it was near 500 total cholesterol. It was, and so they were just like, we don't understand. We've never seen someone like you. Like, and I send to the endocrinologist, or what's the heart doctor, cardiologist. I send him all. I'm like, watch
Dr.
Dave
Obadia?
Feldman. And no, I'm just talking about my general cardiologist that gives me a hard time. I'm like, he instantly was going to put me on a statin. I'm like, but I'm doing so well. And he told me to change my diet. And if I don't want to change my diet, because he obviously saw my markers were down, then I just need to take a statin forever. And I was like, why would I take another drug when I'm fine? So that's when I was like, do the scan on me. And that was, I don't know, that was like less than a year ago. I got the scan done and it was negative. And he was like, yeah, so it said I was in excellent condition. My heart was in excellent condition, exactly on the exam. And he was like, we should do this every 5 years. And I was like, sure, that's fine.
Yeah, if your CAC score was 0, which is what I understand you're saying, over the next 10 to 15 years, you had like very, very, very little risk of having a cardiovascular event, and that is great. And I want to make a pause. I just saw. Please bring Mr. Cast Iron comment up.
I will, but I gotta do something first, because somebody mentioned this thing about a meat cookie. You're a baker, and some of my kids, we watch these movies. They want to watch cookies and desserts all the time on YouTube. So I found this yesterday. We were laughing so hard. I hope
This
you
is
hear
the
it.
best cookie recipe you'll find anywhere. Sprinkle some ground bone flour on your cutting board, then grab your cookie dough and roll it out until it's a ½ inch thick. Then shape that dough into whatever size cookies you want. We're gonna bake those on 350 until they're soft and moist on the inside and juicy on the outside. And these are the exact same cookies our ancestors ate before everybody died of vegetable poisoning.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
I saw that you shared that on the WhatsApp, right? And
Yeah.
that was funny.
They're always like, where are the carnivore desserts? The kids. So we're always trying to figure out some carnivore.
You're gonna have to get yourself a meat slicer and cut
Yeah.
very thin cuts and make them carnivore cookies.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that. That was like a satire, but it's still pretty funny. Yeah, it's true. Okay, so where is Mr. Cast Iron? Let me find
Mr.
that comment.
Cast Iron, his comment
That's
about his
awesome.
A1C. I already saw it.
Yeah,
All right. So, Mike,
Mike.
I predicted this, didn't I?
you did. You did. That
Wow.
was amazing.
Now, this is 7.5 A1C. It's, to me, an uncontrolled diabetic, right? But type 2 diabetes with very high numbers. Now, anyone that looks at that A1C could not even think of calling you a diabetic.
Right.
Okay? You have put it in remission. You have reversed it. I'm not going to say you cured it because I'll be booted out of here, but congratulations. I mean, this is incredibly good for you, most of all, because that cuts down your risks of cancer, cardiovascular disease, all-cause mortality tremendously. So congratulations.
Awesome, Mr. Cast Iron. Okay.
We have some questions for
we do have some-
Michelle.
We have some questions in general. Should we just go down them real quick? Some are for Michelle.
Sure.
So Dr. Kiltz, is he adding back carbs?
Dr. Kiltz is not adding 1 iota of carbs. For years, because I've been listening to him before even working with him, for years he has mentioned when he has ice cream, he might add some cane sugar. He might add some honey. He might have some French fries. Now he fries them in tallow. He's been saying the same story over and over again for years. What he did was he started eating salmon, which is, you can go back if you want. He often
hates
commented
fish.
negatively towards the fish. Now he's eating more fish. Okay.
It cracks me up because people who watched that video, I think, missed the fish point and didn't. Yeah, and this is not to say anything against you.
Well, he also mentioned potatoes in as a word that he doesn't usually do, because he mentions French fries occasionally from time to time. So he hasn't added anything different. He
No.
tells you he'll have a martini once in a while.
Or cookie
Okay.
at Christmas that his daughter bakes.
I've been with him multiple times at dinner, and everything he tells you is true. Now, he has not added any carbs. He is
Yeah.
still carnivore. He's just, instead of eating only beef, he's adding some other stuff that he wasn't really eating frequently, like chicken or fish.
Right.
So he might have a piece of turkey this Thanksgiving. I don't know.
Oh.
Okay, Tim or Elkie, I don't know who this is. This gives me another reason to stay the course. Lupus markers. Why do why do I not have lupus markers? I don't know what this is. Why do no have lupus markers but not lupus? The only answer I guess it happens. So I think why, like, it looks like lupus.
So
but
once, and Michelle mentioned insurance companies, okay?
Yeah.
That might be one of the key factors behind this. Once you have a diagnosis of something in your chart, is very difficult to remove because our medical records are a permanent record, okay, for your benefit and our benefit. It is a permanent record. Here in Florida, after 7 years, I can throw away your records, by the way. And because my office has been closed for more than 10, well, almost 10, I'm actually throwing away some records now. But the bottom line is, it is very difficult to erase any trace of that. So if health insurance or life insurance or anybody's requesting your records because you're buying any of those types of insurance, and they see you had lupus and this was diagnosed 3 years ago, 5 years ago, it's going to be difficult for them to say, oh, you don't have lupus. You're going to have to prove it to them, number one. Same thing with diabetes and pretty much any other diagnosis, including cancer. If you have not had at least 5 years, nobody's going to agree that you are cancer-free until you've gone at least 5 years without a recurrence, okay? So lupus markers, they can go down to 0, but you still have lupus. And the proof is actually what you just mentioned. Every time you try to increase the carbs, the symptoms come back. So just like, the biggest influencer probably within this space that follows a very strict diet, Mikhaila Peterson, do you think she does that because she wants to be eating that way? She's said it herself. I would love to add a bunch of stuff. I can't, right? And you just mentioned this is a similar experience. Every time you try to add a little bit more, you pay the consequences, right?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like for me too, with the celiac aspect, every time I would add carbs, people don't realize with like big food, a lot of food is contaminated with gluten. Like so many people don't realize that you're eating gluten. You think you're not eating gluten, and you really are getting traces of gluten in things. Like a couple weeks ago, again, this is an example of a cheat, or this was like a month and a half ago. I'm eating strict keto, pretty much ketovore. My daughter was eating some chips like fried in tallow, like they were some were fried in tallow, some in avocado oil. I had a handful of chips. They were contaminated with gluten. These are labeled gluten-free chips. I was vomiting for 5 hours straight.
Oh,
We had to
wow.
call. My husband had to go to work. I had to call my mom at 4 a.m. because I was on the ground in the bathroom. I couldn't get up if my kids got up, and then we ended up having to call 911. It was like so serious, and then it just like makes me so scared to like if I do have a cheat, it's like it has to be like a real like it can't be like a processed food, because every time I do that, it's like it just I guess I just have terrible luck. But that's not the first time. Even I've gotten sick from a vitamin, an organic vitamin that's certified gluten-free.
Wow.
And I was eating strict carnivore, and I switched my vitamin from a prenatal of the same brand to a regular vitamin of their same brand. I literally started getting, every morning I was like rushing to the bathroom, terrible diarrhea, dying, terrible stomach pain. I'm like, I must have food poisoning. I'm like, the dairy, something I'm eating is like bad. It must be. So I cut dairy and thinking it was like my milk was bad or something. And I was only eating beef for a couple days, and I was still dying. And then I realized on the label said certified gluten-free, but made in a shared facility with wheat. And I had the other vitamin didn't say that, the prenatal. And I was like, are you kidding me? And I have at home like gluten testers, and I tested it and it came back positive for gluten.
Wow.
And I was just, then I went to the doctor, and usually when my celiac marker goes up, my lupus level will go up with it, unfortunately, because usually it's because I cheated and had carbs. And so they kind of go 2 and 2 together. And every time I eat carbs, I get punished worse with the gluten aspect too. It's so frustrating.
More questions, Alia?
Yeah. Robert Lloyd. I don't know what this means. This live is 22, correct? What does that mean? Does somebody know? Do you know what that means?
I have no idea.
Okay, sorry, Robert. We don't know what that means. Okay, where pigs fly farm. Found out yesterday that my colitis flare was likely caused by Wagyu. I started eating this week. Does it contain more sugar?
Wagyu beef contain more fat, and Wagyu is typically grain finished. So some people are very sensitive to the grains, even if they've been processed through the cow, right? And Michelle, do you has that happened to you? That you
In the past, a while ago, when I was less lenient with my celiac, I would get like deli meat, and I was sick from the deli meat, and I asked the butcher, I'm like, this is just beef. Obviously there's ingredients in it. They're like, oh yeah, but the cow is like grain finished, and I thought, what would that be? But I haven't. I know I normally eat grass-fed meat, but I've definitely had grain-fed meat, and I think the cow's stomach processes the grains or gluten out of it, because it's just like a chicken. I had chickens for a while. Chickens eat commonly heavily grains, wheat. Like their food is terrible unless you source it.
They are fed heavily grains. They normally don't. They eat anything, by the way. They'll eat you if you're next to them.
Yeah.
But there are some people that are so sensitive that even after a ruminant animal has processed the grain fed to them, they might still get symptoms from eating. Not everybody's like that. All beef is grass fed. They're grain finished or grass finished. And some people don't have a problem with grain fed, but Wagyu normally is grain fed, grain finished. They're all grass fed.
Yeah, I'm lucky that I'm not sensitive like to the grain fed or grass fed. Typically, I stick with grass fed, just where I source my meat, because I have to be careful, because if you read at the store, a lot of, you probably don't read this often, but even if you go buy a steak, a lot of times it'll say processed in a facility with wheat. There's a risk of cross-contamination. So I have to be careful even with sourcing my steak. Like I typically buy from a company that ships to me, that I know they only process meat. Like a good butcher should only process meat, but a lot of times people process with seasonings, and the seasonings are contaminated. And so they think it's, oh yeah, we don't process gluten here, but your seasonings are completely contaminated with gluten. And so it's
and sometimes seed oils.
Oh, and that too.
Yeah. We have a friend of the Killed Mighty tribe in Los Angeles, and she goes to a specific butcher shop. Forget the name. She posts that frequently on her channel, mostly on Instagram. Angela's her name, right?
Yeah, Angela.
I'd be interested to see.
Angela Lero. She lives in LA. She lives like right by you. I should hook you guys up. Yeah.
Meat-based medium is her.
Meat-based medium. Yep.
Oh, okay. That sounds familiar.
I'll have to introduce you to, because you're like
she has Instagram stories showing her eating raw meat and going to the butcher shop. So if you can get it grass-fed, grass-finished, and you know your butcher, I mean, you probably be able to get the best for you.
Yeah.
I want to just let her know the one and only time I ate Wagyu, I was sick for 2 days. So, and it was at a very high-end restaurant. So the meat I don't think was bad. I think I just couldn't. Maybe it had something to do with the grains. I don't know. The grains that the animal ate. I have no idea. But just to add that for confirmation.
Also, many restaurants don't. They'll sell you the cut of the steak.
Yeah.
They don't tell you how they marinate them. In
Mm.
marinating them, they will, if they use any type of marinade with oil, it's always going to be a vegetable seed oil. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I've had terrible experience with restaurants even messing up my steak with like Outback Steakhouse, for
Mm.
example. They are supposed to have butter on the griddle or whatever, and for a while I couldn't have dairy because my son's milk allergy. I was breastfeeding him, and so I ordered a steak, and I was like, they were like, "Oh, there's butter on the grill." And I noticed they gave me the allergen menu because normally I don't have to look at other allergens just for gluten. And I noticed there was wheat in some of their steaks. And I was like, wait a minute. And you're grilling these on the same griddle? Yeah. So they were like, yeah. And I'm like, so then how are you saying the steak's gluten free when it's griddle in the same puddle of, there's the same sauce in the
and
griddle?
in case you don't know it, Outback Steak does not have butter. All
Oh,
their
That's good.
butter is
Oh, wow.
vegetable seed oil butter.
yeah. I stopped going there because they messed up so many times. And then Wood Ranch too is supposed to. I should call and ask about their. They say it's butter, but the last time I had gone to Wood Ranch for years just to get meat, like just if I wanted to go out, would be a safe gluten-free place that understands. I went there about 2 months ago, and I said, I want the ribeye, no side, mark a gluten allergy so they know about cross contamination. The waiter goes, just so you know, there's 100% risk of cross contamination. We can't promise that your steak's gonna be gluten free. That was the first time they ever told me that. I'm like, what?
Well,
Okay.
at least that she was honest.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I have little test kits that test for gluten. So I was like, well, I'll just test it, and you swab the whole thing and put a piece in this little it's a whole science experiment. And so I did that, and it was negative, and I ate it, and I was very sick after eating it. And so I haven't been back since. It's like I can't even. I wish I was just like regular carnivore and can just go order food somewhere, but it's so hard. Now I don't really trust anywhere. There's one restaurant in LA that just opened called Tallow Organic, and they have 3 different meats. Everything, they don't use seed oils. Everything is fried. They do have fries. They fry in tallow and chips. I went there for my birthday, and I had like 2 or 3 of their fries. No reaction. That was like the only carbs I had. But other than that, I just got like a pound of meat. They do meat a la carte. So they have barbacoa and, steak and chicken. But yeah, there's no other restaurants like that. I mean, that I've been to that I trust at least.
Yeah, and when you really want to avoid all these things, whether it's the wheat or the vegetable seed oils, look around the internet for, might take more than a couple of minutes, but if I go to so I know Outback, Texas Roadhouse, Logan's, multiple others, their butter is not real butter. It's a mixture. It's not pure butter. Longhorn Steakhouse has real butter.
Wow.
And I've seen the container because I asked once a waiter, and he said, "Well, I don't know," but he came back with a tub. So I read the ingredients. They do have real butter.
Well, that's
I am not affiliated with any of them.
I'm so sorry about this. Stephanie says, Steph B. Cat, I was sick all night. I was sick all night for my birthday dinner at Texas Roadhouse, ribeye, but no sides, but sauteed mushrooms. Hours of diarrhea. Was it the mushrooms? Mushrooms.
Could have been the mushrooms. If you put butter in Texas Roadhouse for more than a year, because I used to go to Texas Roadhouse a lot. I like it because you can go and choose your steak. So you point out the one you want, and they'll cook that one for you. But for more than a year, every time I ask, is this real butter? Oh, yeah, it's real butter. And then come to find out it's not real butter.
Yeah.
So I stopped going to them.
Let's do some more questions. Elkie, my doctor is losing his mind. He had 2 times suggested I need statins. low triglycerides, high HDL, and high LDL. My NMR and also okay. So guess next step is CAC.
So on the NMR, that's a lipoprotein fractionation or advanced lipid panel. I'm curious if you happen to remember what your small dense LDL particles are. Let us know.
Okay. Next question is Lena Furman on Facebook. Went to the doctor yesterday. My BP was high, 167/87. I've been carnivore for 2 years. Not sure why it is so high. Should I cut out salt? Should she cut out doctors? I'm just joking. The white coat syndrome.
So that blood pressure is a little high, and I have no idea if they did all the steps correctly. Sometimes you rush into the back and they'll take your blood pressure. You haven't even sat down and they're taking your blood pressure. No, you need to wait for several minutes, relax before you have your blood pressure taken. And if your blood pressure is this high, I would have it taken a second and third time at least to see if it's really that. I almost never treat a blood pressure in the office without knowing what it is at home. So if you take it yourself with a good machine, I prefer the arm. I don't like the wrist. They are very inaccurate, a lot of variability. So they could be correct one time and 10 times not be correct. I prefer up in the arm. And have it taken at home when you're relaxed. Sit down, take it. The machine that is measuring the blood pressure should always be at the heart level, by the way. If you have it too high up or too low down, it's not going to give you an accurate reading. And it is the part of the machine that's taking the measurement, not the arm cuff. The arm cuff is always going to be a heart level because it's right next to your heart. But there are multiple things to take into account. And did they take it a second time, a third time to make sure it was high? Is it normal at home? Or is it running high at home? If it is running high at home, you may need to take blood pressure medication, which could be temporary. My blood pressure, I had a stroke 7 years ago because of my blood pressure, among other things. I take no blood pressure medication any longer. I went carnivore. Less than 7 months later, I had to stop all my blood pressure medication because my blood pressure came down to completely normal.
Let's see. Aunt B says, Ollie made me laugh. But I had my blood pressure checked at the beginning of my appointment and at the end. My blood pressure at the second was normal. Let's say Luis says the corn that we import from the USA to produce for the food, the chickens and the pork, is terrible quality, is rotten. Like the corn's rotten? The chicken's rotten? I'm curious.
The corn.
Oh, the corn. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't eat corn. But the Wagyu steak I had was in Nashville. It wasn't in Colombia, by the way. It was in Nashville, Tennessee, if that was in response to that. Let's see.
At Mainstock?
No, the month before. It was, you were flying in that night. You weren't at the restaurant with us because you were still flying.
Okay.
Yeah.
When we went to Yuma, that was Yuma.
Yeah, that was Yuma. Let's see. Here's a question. Brian Fly Fisherman Dish. Who is keeping records if the doctors only need to keep for 5 to 7 years? Doesn't HIPAA come to insurance keep longer?
So each state has different laws for this. The state of Florida requires that I keep records for 7 years. After that, 7 years and 1 day, I can throw it all out, destroy it properly, but you don't have to keep it longer than 7 years. However, nowadays, everything is computerized. They can be kept forever.
There we go. So with this is back to the question about the lupus markers. So with the markers, do I have it? Having markers still means I have lupus. It's Elke.
Were the markers positive for dsDNA? There's different types of lupus and there's different markers. For me, mine is systemic lupus. It's like systemic erythema. It's a long word. And it's like a dsDNA lab marker that the doctor judged me on that I had it, that it wouldn't be high. That particular marker wouldn't go high without lupus.
So diagnosis is never only done on blood markers. Okay, it's a set of diagnostic criteria. And so you put symptoms and markers together, and there's a whole specialty that does this, and they have a criteria. So I can make a comment about just the markers or the symptoms. If you have symptoms and you have markers, then if you were given a diagnosis of lupus, until proven otherwise, I trust the medical doctor who's making that diagnosis. But there are multiple things that take you down the rabbit hole searching for answers. It's never the first test. Like the test you're talking about is anti-double-stranded DNA antibodies. Okay, that's the DS means double-stranded. And those are almost always exclusively, but not, see, I said almost, not 100% of the time means lupus. You could have a positive test. And all the autoimmune diseases, there is such a thing as mixed connective tissue disease, because you have multiple markers that are positive and they don't fit in only one category. So the doctor will diagnose you of mixed connective tissue disease, which most of them, whether it's Sjogren's, psoriatic arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, they all may look the same.
Okay. Steph B. Katz, do you think my triglycerides went from 88 to 100 because of either, I think it's 4 teaspoons or 4 tablespoons of butter? HDL good at 108. Triglyceride HDL ratio still good at 0.92.
So 88 and 100 and triglycerides, first of all, is almost the same number. They didn't go up really. Okay. You just had a different days, and one day was 88, the other day was 100. They're both good. Anything under 100, good. They didn't go up or down. It may have had to do with whether you fasted 12 hours or 16 hours that day before going for the test. It may have to do with the time in the morning. There are multiple factors, but 88 and 100, they're both the same number.
Great. JJ Son. My husband has been doing carnivore for 4 months now. He just did labs and his cortisol is extremely low. What could be the reason for this?
I don't know. What is extremely low? Extremely low to me is 0, and nobody should have 0 except for Angela here. I think she's in the chat. So I don't know what extremely low means, because depending on the time of the day, again, especially with cortisol, very important that the sample is taken between like a 2-hour window. I don't remember right now if it's 6 to 8 or 8 to 10 a.m. Outside that, it may be lower. In the afternoon, maybe even lower. So it depends what time of the day it was, if it was a serum cortisol level. So extremely low doesn't mean anything unless I know the number. But extremely low is anything near 0, and then you need to find out what's going on. Cortisol, by the way, cortisol is not a bad hormone. Neither is insulin. Excess of either one is the problem. Okay. These are hormones we need for normal functioning of our bodies. Most people, cortisol at this time of the morning should be going up. That is normal.
Is that to wake your body up and get you going? For the day?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Except in me may have been all, I don't know. I
All
didn't
night?
sleep last night at all.
Aw.
I was in bed for a couple of hours, had to just get up.
I'm sorry, Dr. Nelson. Angela Mullins, Coach Angela Mullins. Tim, my doctor said you have to have markers and enough symptoms for a diagnosis. That's again about the lupus, I guess.
Yeah, there is a diagnostic criteria. You can look it up. It requires to have a certain number out of a certain number. It is not a definitive diagnosis with just one marker. One marker is not enough of a criteria. There are people who have a positive ANA, and then you do a follow-up test, which will be the anti-double-stranded DNA antibody. And if that's positive, if you don't have any symptoms, you don't have lupus. You could have the marker, okay? Everything probably started with a high set rate or a CRP that was high, and then your doctor went down the rabbit hole doing other tests.
Exactly. Brian Fly Fishman Dish. The problems I've found with grain finished is how the grains that are being fed raised grown GMOs and fertilizers used. Could be a point.
Yeah, we don't know how much glyphosate, for example, they have, which seems to be almost everywhere.
Yeah. Kim, are you still eating? This is for Michelle. Are you still eating any seed oils, avocado oil, or olive oil after you were sick?
No, I typically avoid all of those all the oils. The only oil I don't use, I fry in tallow and I use butter if I'm gonna if I need an oil for anything. I don't do the avocado or olive oil. I don't really love olive oil, but yeah, when I cheated that day, one of the chips that I had two different brands. One was fried in tallow and one was fried in avocado oil. And if I had one, the tallow one earlier in the day, I'm not naming the brands because I don't know which one for sure was contaminated, but the tallow chips I ate way earlier in the evening, and I'm super sensitive celiac, so usually I react within like an hour if I'm gonna vomit from something, and I didn't have the avocado oil chips till later, and that's when I started vomiting in the night. So I think that even some of the seed oil free chips, I think the avocado oil, it's not organic, so what it really is anyone even checking what it is?
And sometimes, I mean, we would like to trust the labels, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the story is the same with olive oil and avocado oil. Sometimes they cut it with soybean oil or canola oil,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not supposed to, but they're selling it to you as pure 100%, and it might not be. So.
And one thing I want to add, so in getting my product, my bars, my paleo organic bars certified organic, I learned a lot of bad things about what certified organic doesn't always mean that safe, because it's a whole process to get certified organic, so much paperwork and like so much to it. And when they came and inspected, they ask you a bunch of questions. They're like, so do you have any processing oils? And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, yeah, processing aids, you don't have to list on the ingredient list. So like, for example, things like, say, a maple syrup, that in a factory needs canola oil to run through a machine or it will get stuck. And they don't have to put canola oil on the list, even on a certified organic product.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and even when you compare organic nuts versus regular nuts, if you're a certified organic company, those regular nuts can't even be in the same building because they're that toxic. the fumes from, they put them in bags. This was the lady tells me, because she goes and inspects the organic certifier. She's like, yeah, they put them in bags and they're just trapped with fumes. So like when people go keto only and they're doing a lot of heavy nuts is like common. If you're going to do nuts, you have to do organic, or you're just poisoning yourself pretty much with all the pesticide they put on there. It's terrible.
Part of the you just mentioned they can be in the same building. That's why you don't find peanuts in airplanes anymore.
Oh yeah.
Because if there is one person allergic to nuts in the plane, and when they used to have peanuts was usually what they had, but not any longer.
Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, they can cut, like even a certified organic product can be fried in soybean oil, and they don't have to put, like, there's certain levels where they don't have to list it at all, which is crazy. If you have a soy allergy or something, you don't know what you're getting. Most things are cut with that.
So my opinion, the best thing is you don't buy or eat anything that comes in a box, a bag, or a can.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jeffrey's asking what happened to the call last night.
Well, I don't know why the question, because we had a wonderful Zoom last night with Stephanie Taylor,
Awesome.
one of the Taylor sisters. It was great. However, I don't know if Jeffrey is a paying member.
Oh yeah,
because
you have to be a
last
paid
night's
member.
call was the Tuesday and Thursday. If you're paying the higher level, then you have access to that. If you don't, you have access to the Monday call. So I don't know what your situation is, Jeffrey, but
Yeah,
we had a wonderful call last night. Yes.
And I send a message to all the members in the paid category with the link the morning of the call. So it will be in your email or in a direct message from me in the Mighty Tribe. Let's see. Susie, Michelle, have you tried a Brazilian steakhouse? I've never been to one, so I'm just curious. Susie, you gotta go. You gotta go to a steakhouse.
I haven't. I honestly, I get so scared to eat out with my celiac, because it's just like, I swear, I don't trust anybody. People don't understand the cross contamination thing, and you think it should be simple, just order a steak, but it's very common for people to ruin. I've had celiac for 11 years, so it just happens too often. So to like try a new place is scary, because like even if I test it, I can only test a small piece. So one end of the steak could be fine and the other end could be not fine. But I don't even know where to find a Brazilian steakhouse. I don't know. I'm in LA. I'm sure.
I bet they're all over
Tons.
Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna find one right now for you.
And Jeffrey, I just saw your comment, so email Alia later, and she can look into it.
Find out what happened.
But we did have the call.
And it'll be available today online. I don't know why you didn't get the Zoom link, but it's the same link every week. We got 3 more questions, and we're gonna run through these really fast. Dr. Nelson, I don't know the actual blood pressure machine you get heart level. I thought only the arm and cuff. Good information. Oh, okay, that's for you. Mobina, 120 days carnivore from clean keto, around 16 pounds. She gained 16 pounds installed. She didn't get her period back. Try low fat, high fat, and everything. So low fat is not carnivore at all. You have to be high fat. Low fat is something else. Scared to go back to keto. She's crying. Mobina, can you please email me, alia@drkiltz.com. And I have
120 days means 4 months. And while some people may find benefit before that, not everybody does. So unfortunately, one of the things that many of us have to do who want results very quickly is to be patient. But if you're part of the Kills Mighty Tribe, in one of our Zoom calls, we can talk a little bit more about this. And because of your mention of the period, especially on Mondays, Dr. Kills is almost always there on Mondays.
Yeah.
And that the
Exactly.
Mondays is the free one.
Yeah. And then again, low fat's not going to help you get your period back. Sorry, I'm not trying to laugh. I'm just saying, like, there is no such thing as low fat carnivore. There is carnivore, which is what, 70% fat, potentially. Tim, Elke, last question. LDLP 1866, LDL size large, 22.2 small, LDLP less than 90, HDLP 31, triglycerides 97, HDLC 87, total cholesterol 294.
Okay,
lot of
so out of
numbers.
everything there, the
Yeah.
most important things are number one, the triglycerides and the HDL are almost the same, which means it's basically one, a ratio. That is great. Okay. And your small LDL particles is very low, which is great. Okay. Everything else, a little bit of white noise.
There you go. We got to do the giveaway real quick. So it's I said a baseball cap. Somebody's getting a baseball cap today. If it says Dr. Kiltz again, I'm gonna laugh. Let's see if Dr. Kiltz wins. Hunter Jones, congratulations. Please email me, alia@drkiltz.com. I'll put it in the chat. And I need your, if that's your real name, sounds like your real name, and your address. And we'll get it shipped to you. Thank you so much. There you go.
All right. Michelle, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your story, and stay strong. You already know what helps you and doesn't help you when you do it, right? And listen, it is, I know there are people here who are very strict and they never veer, of course, but some other people do and want to add a few things, and they realize this is not helping the ultimate purpose for what they're doing this. And so I congratulate you. And it's good that you're trying to stay around for those two little ones.
Oh yeah. Well, thank you guys for having me. This was fun. This is the first time I've ever done
Awesome.
this.
Awesome. Yeah, it was awesome. You did great. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Oh,
And you
and
still-
needed-
You
Oh,
still
go
have
ahead.
time to go and sleep some, I guess, right?
Yeah,
exactly. And then you need to check out Fogo de Chao. It's a Brazilian steakhouse. It's in Beverly Hills. Apparently, it's 20 minutes away from Burbank.
Oh wow. Okay.
I was just
Yeah.
checking this out for you. Fogo de Chao is amazing.
Now, the Brazilian steakhouses, they usually cook over fire.
Oh,
However, they may marinate the meats. So you might want to ask when you get there and explain why you can't have some of the stuff. And they do have buffets where they have everything. So yes, I would say there might be a chance of cross contamination, but they don't cook on flat surfaces. It's over fire.
yeah.
Like
yeah.
Giant skewer. So unless they have put something to marinate the meat, and they can, I'm pretty sure they can always not put anything and do one for you exclusively. So you can
Well,
talk to them before you get there.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right. Well, time to end. Time to end the stream.
And go over to Old Guy Carnivore.
Oh, yeah. We're 4 minutes into Old Guy